All right, we are live here. My name is Amita. I am co-founder of Nourish Talk, a platform for natural and holistic medicine. We are on a mission to help reduce dependency on medication by offering preventive wellness plans that are backed by science and research. Today in our educational session, we are going to talk about leaky gut syndrome and how natural therapies like acupuncture and homeopathy can help with the healing process. Presenting this topic, we have Dr. Randy Martin, who is a holistic medicine doctor using functional and integrative medicine. Dr. Martin's book, Optimal Health, How to Get It, How to Keep It, is a comprehensive, holistic self-help guide. Dr. Randy Martin has been in private practice since 1983, specializing in classical homeopathy, Chinese medicine, herbal medicine, and nutritional counseling. Welcome, Dr. Martin.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So this is going to be a Q&A session. We are going to start with Dr. Martin. If you can explain what is leaky gut syndrome.
Sure. Leaky gut is kind of a term that became in vogue maybe about 5 years ago, 10 at the most, but it's more recent. What it means is when your food and the things that you eat aren't really digesting, you're not assimilating what you're eating. And that can result in all kinds of problems. In Chinese medicine, we say that the core of healing always starts with the gut, the stomach, and the digestive tract. So it has to be working well for everything else to work well.
Okay, and what are the symptoms if someone has leaky gut?
Some of the symptoms are what one might think of as the most obvious, which are the digestive problems. And that would include gas, bloating, body aches and pains. And then it can branch out from there depending on the person. I have many patients who come in with symptoms like fibromyalgia, just aches and pains, rheumatic problems, arthritis problems, headaches. It could be an endocrine problem like thyroid. Weight gain or loss are very, very common symptoms of leaky gut because oftentimes people think that they're eating fine or eating enough when they gain weight, but that can also be a sign of leaky gut because they're not actually assimilating and taking in the foods that they are eating. Other symptoms could be hair loss. Emotional symptoms could be irritability, quick-tempered, feeling anxious, difficulty sleeping, mood swings, quick to change moods at the slightest provocation. And also cognitive problems like ADD and ADHD. With kids with ADD, I always look at the gut and see what the condition is to see if they're assimilating the food they're eating. Lastly, some of the most common symptoms are the eczema and psoriasis, or hives is another one.
Okay, so there's a lot of different symptoms that go with a leaky gut.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we always talk about the probiotics and some of the recommended supplements. What would you recommend if someone has a leaky gut?
Well, definitely the probiotics are the main thing because probiotics, we often don't have. Probiotics are the good bacteria that live in our digestive tract, and they help to break down the foods and keep the microbiome healthy in the gut. So that's the number one most important thing. And to tell if you're getting, patients always come and say they have a probiotic, but when I look at it, it turns out that it's not really a very good one. So I always suggest it should be a dairy-free. It should be spore, S-P-O-R-E based, a spore based. And the more units or the larger number of units in the product, the better. And the more differential of the different products that are in it, the better. So at least 5, 6, 7, 8 products, but some of them can have 8, 10, or 12 products. That way you're getting more of a shotgun approach and hitting all different angles of the digestive tract. So for other supplements that I like to do, of course, homeopathic medicine, but then there's also Chinese herbs. We use herbs such as ginseng and cardamom. Any of the ginseng type Chinese herbs are very, very good. Ginseng and astragalus. Another one I use is called GI Care, which has a bunch of different products in it made to build up the digestive tract and actually heal the digestive tract. Aloe is another good one. And then if we are going to do homeopathic, two of the most common ones that I use are Nux vomica and Carbo Veg. They can help heal the stomach lining. But the best way to use homeopathy, of course, is to do constitutional, where we pick a homeopathic remedy that matches the broad range of symptoms rather than just targeting one individual symptom.
I see. And you talked about some of the common supplements, just also, right? Okay. So I'm just curious that if the first thing is if some kind of a test. I mean, how would someone know that someone has a leaky gut? Would you recommend some kind of a blood test or something?
Well, oftentimes it's easier because of the money involved in testing to just start someone on a program. So we eliminate dairy, cow's dairy products. We eliminate gluten-containing foods. We eliminate sugar, refined carbohydrates, and we talk about food combining. But if one has the money to test, we can do a thorough stool test. And there's a few companies out there that do a stool test that actually is able to determine gut function, how it's actually working in the gut, as well as parasites, ruling out parasites, candida, and yeast, which can be common problems in leaky gut that when digestion isn't working right, oftentimes the parasites will proliferate, as well as candida and yeast, ova, and other critters that we don't want in the gut, or they're always there in small amounts, but we don't want them in large amounts. So that would be a stool test.
Okay, okay. And then talking about, let's say, your treatment protocol, what could you talk about? You know, you use different integrative therapies like acupuncture, diet, homeopathic. So how do you combine all the therapies?
Well, the main one that I use them combined together. So acupuncture is the main one because, as I was saying, in Chinese medicine, we work to strengthen the middle, it's called the middle burner, middle jiao. And by doing that, we're strengthening digestion. So in Chinese medicine, that's the spleen, the stomach, the liver, and the gallbladder. And we do that through acupuncture, placing these small, sterile stainless steel needles in the stomach, on the legs, and on the arms. And that actually increases the function of digestion, so that often that and that alone, people will have a huge improvement in the way that they process the foods that they eat. For instance, a lot of people have GERD and heartburn, and that'll go away almost immediately with a few acupuncture treatments. I also use the acupuncture to treat stress, because if stress is involved, then leaky gut has a head start, so to speak. So definitely acupuncture, and insurance does cover the acupuncture portion. And then in addition to that, at the same time, I'll pick some Chinese herbal formulas. And Chinese herbs, as compared to Western herbs, use a variety. They'll usually use 6, 8, or 10 herbs in a single formula, rather than Western herbs will just use individual herbs. And some of the common ones are ginseng and cardamom, ginseng and astragalus. I use a company called Evergreen, which has its own specific formulas for each type of problem. So I pick the specific formula, there's 3 or 4, for leaky gut to help strengthen the digestive tract. And these are, of course, in capsule. So they're very easy to take. Some people are afraid that they'll have to brew the herbs or boil them. But no, it's really easy. Patient compliance is really simple because people enjoy the simplicity of just taking 3 capsules 3 times a day. Then at the same time, we'll do the homeopathy and we'll pick the correct homeopathic remedy. We'll also eliminate the foods that could be the culprits, like the gluten-containing foods, wheat, rye, barley, malt, oats, and substitute with foods such as corn and rice, quinoa, and millet. These days, it's pretty easy to do a gluten-free diet. Almost all stores sell bread and pasta that are gluten-free. And even sometimes when you go out to restaurants, like Chick-fil-A and other places, popular places will actually have gluten-free options as well. Cow's dairy is pretty bad, so we need to eliminate that. We want to strengthen the digestive tract with yogurt, but not cow's yogurt. We want to use goat's or soy yogurt or coconut yogurt. And that puts into the digestive tract the good bacteria, which gives a head start for the digestion. And then we'll use some powders to strengthen the whole digestive tract. The one that I like the most is called GI Care. I think the company manufactures it is called Designs for Health. It's a combination formula of about 6 or 8 different products, glutamine and a few others, quercetin, slippery elm, marshmallow, and that will actually help to heal the digestive tract. So we want to heal and build up the digestive tract. One supplement that has gained a lot of popularity recently is turmeric or curcumin. That's anti-inflammatory, and that's a really good one for all kinds of problems, treating all kinds of pains, aches and pains, and brain fog. But it also works to decrease the inflammation in the gut by taking it specifically for leaky gut syndrome. And then, of course, the homeopathy, which we pick an individual homeopathic remedy, and that's going to be based on the constitution or the personality of the person. In other words, what sets them off? Are they more tight-strung, high-strung, easygoing? What foods do they like and dislike? What activities do they like and dislike? And how they function in relationship. All that goes into determining the correct homeopathic remedy, because there's many, many, many that one might use for leaky gut, but we need to match it to that particular person's personality if it's really going to be effective and work really well. If they have specific symptoms, let's say eczema and psoriasis, then we'll also use some blood clearing Chinese formulas. And we'll do some topical things to cool. And these are Chinese herbals that we can use topically as well. If there's mood swings, we use bupleurum and peonia formula, which helps relax the nerves and the emotions. Hair loss, there's specific formulas for that. Of course, weight gain and loss, specific formulas. And I don't think I emphasized enough the need for the digestive enzyme. So every time you eat, it's really, really important to take a really high quality digestive enzyme. Many people purchase one and they're really cheap from a big store, and they're not nearly as good as some of the more expensive ones. The digestive enzyme must be geared to work on the upper and the lower digestive tract. So it has to have bile and pancreatin and hydrochloric acid. So it has to work on the upper, meaning the stomach, and the lower, meaning the small intestine digestive tract, in order to really be effective.
I think this is truly an integrative medicine, what you talked about, combining so many different therapies and really helping a user achieve their digestion properly. Could you talk about a success case for our viewers?
Yeah, sure. This was an example of a woman that I'm still seeing now. She's 25 years old, and she has pretty bad eczema. She came to me with eczema. She did not know she had leaky gut. But as soon as I started going over with her some of the symptoms of leaky gut, she immediately identified and said, yeah, I've had gas, bloating, difficulty digesting so many foods all my life. And she saw the correlation between the leaky gut and the eczema. Started doing acupuncture on her weekly, and she's improving really, really, really well. The main improvement she started to see was that the itching stopped. So the redness is still there, but she doesn't have this incredible itching that keeps her awake all night. I'm also using on her homeopathic sulfur, 30C. one of the keynotes of sulfur is the person could be a little more hot-tempered, outgoing, somewhat egocentric, strong personality. They kick off the blankets at night. They tend to be hot. They do not like taking baths and showers. It just makes the eczema and all the other symptoms even worse. We're working on changing her diet. Two main things were to stop gluten and dairy. Again, that's cow's dairy. You're welcome to do sheep's and goats. That the sheep and the goat has a digestive tract similar to us. The cow does not. So we have a lot of trouble digesting cow's milk, dairy products, whether it's yogurt, cheese, or milk. And then substituting, she likes bread and pasta. So she was able to find at some of the local health food stores gluten-free substitutes. So she's using those for her sandwiches, for her bread, and found some really tasty rice and millet pastas. I have her on my favorite digestive enzyme, which is called Pamplex 2. It's an integrative therapeutics product. Have her on my favorite probiotic, which is called Core Biotic. Research nutraceutical product, very, very good. It's inexpensive, soil and spore based. And then I have her on the Chinese herb ginseng and astragalus. And that's a pretty common Chinese formula, which strengthens what we call the middle burner or the digestive tract. So it helps digestion. It also gives energy, and it also can clear some of the heat out of the system, which again can be created through the leaky gut. So she's very happy with the treatment. She's going to keep coming for a while on the weekly acupuncture, because not only is it helping to cure the eczema and the digestion, but she just feels better. She just feels a lot more relaxed, is sleeping better, and she's finding that she gets along with her boyfriend better because her mood is more serene and stable.
I think that's very encouraging. One of the questions one of the viewers has is that how much time does it take if someone was suffering from a leaky gut syndrome?
Well, it depends how long they've had the symptoms. So it takes longer the length of time they've had the symptoms. If they've only had symptoms for 6 to 12 months, then they're going to see huge improvement in about 3 to 6 months. If they've had a skin problem or headaches or fibromyalgia or arthritis for many, many years, then they're looking at maybe 6 to 12 months to completely cure it. The body does lean toward curing itself if you give it a little nudge. So by giving it the acupuncture, the herbs, the homeopathy, and changing the diet, the body does naturally want to heal itself. But the stomach lining, just like if you've ever seen anybody with eczema or psoriasis, it's similar. If they do a GI camera, they'll see redness and inflammation in the stomach. So that needs to be healed, and it's not overnight. To some extent, it depends on the person learning to meditate, learning to relax, learning other alternative emotional responses when things stress them out. Because every time we get stressed, the stomach gets inflamed. So I'm also helping teach those relaxation techniques, and I do teach meditation as well. That's really important. So it's not overnight, especially with something like leaky gut, but it's going to change the person's life completely by doing this type of work.
So you would recommend yoga and some of the pranayams and meditation along with all the other integrative therapies that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and some kind of cardio aerobic exercise. Walking is fine, but something to raise the heartbeat. And I also like to do extensive blood work to make sure that there's no underlying imbalances. Along with the stool test, we do the blood work. Sometimes there's underlying imbalances that could be the cause. The liver enzymes could be high and we don't even know it. There's no other way of knowing it without doing the blood work. So
it'll be before the patient would come in, you would do a blood work, and after a few months, 3 or 4 months, to just see. I
usually wait till after that first visit so I can see which blood work we need to do, because they might not need a thyroid panel, extensive thyroid. So we'll do it after that first visit, and then every 3 to 6 months after that. depending on how, if we're getting stuck, then we might need to do some more testing. But if they're progressing, then we only need to do the blood work once a year.
Well, thank you so much. I think this has been a very informational session for our viewers. I hope our viewers enjoyed it. Before I sign off, would you like to say your final words of wisdom to viewers who might be suffering from leaky gut?
Yeah, the main thing is when we're stressed out, we tend to ignore symptoms that we're used to. We kind of just live with them. But basically, pay attention to your body. Lay down or sit quietly and pay attention. When the little red warning light goes on and the oil light in your car, don't ignore it. And if you're having some digestive problems or some of these other issues, get the help of someone like myself. I accept almost all insurance, so it's pretty easy to get started for most people.
Yes, and Dr. Martin is available for consultation at Nourish Talk as well. One of the viewers thanked you for all the information. I just wanted to share the comment. So all the viewers who are watching live or watch this video later, you are welcome to come to us for questions and Dr. Randy Martin, who he has a lot of experience since 1983. He's an expert in integrative therapies. So please let us know your feedback, how you like this educational session. And thank you so much, Dr. Martin, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I'm going to thank you so much. Bye-bye.